My brother's daughter said, "She thinks she's special because she's childless and rich." My mom laughed until she cried. I didn't. I just stood up, kissed my grandma goodbye, and left. The next morning, every college account I funded was at zero. My name's Bailey. I'm from San Diego, and I make more money in a quarter than most of my family does in 5 years. I don't say that to brag. I say it because I know exactly how they see me. Not as generous, not as the one who bailed out my brother during his divorce, or the one who covered 3 semesters of my cousin's daughter's tuition when financial aid didn't come through. Not even as the one who quietly pays the property taxes on my mother's house every year. No, they see me as the one who thinks she's better than them. Because I don't have kids. Because I live in a glassy high-rise with a view of the bay. Because I don't ask them for anything. They don't say it to my face. Not usually, but they think it. And last Saturday, one of them finally said it out loud. It was my grandmother's 90th birthday. The whole family was packed into her backyard in Sacramento, tables covered with plastic tablecloths, kids weaving between legs with cake on their faces, someone's Bluetooth speaker playing a playlist that hadn't been updated since 2012. I flew in that morning straight from a pitch meeting in LA. First class, slept the whole flight. No one asked me about it. I'd been there maybe an hour, made small talk, hugged people, complimented the Kleslaw. I was sitting near the end of the table, sipping lemonade, when Madison, my brother's daughter, walked over and dropped the grenade. She thinks she's special because she's childless and rich. Just like that. No let-up, no context. She said it to no one in particular, but loud enough for everyone to hear. And then she smiled like she just dropped the line of the day. My mom, sitting across from me, started laughing so hard she had to cover her mouth with a napkin. A few others joined in. I looked around. Not one person looked uncomfortable. Not one person said, maybe that was out of line. So, I stood up. I didn't say a word. I walked over to my grandmother, kissed her cheek, told her happy birthday, and left. No scene, no storming, just done. The next morning, I got up early, made coffee, opened my laptop, and logged into the college savings accounts. I'd set them up years ago, 5 in total. One for Madison, her younger sister, 2 other nieces, and my cousin's son. Every month, money went in automatically, quietly. No fanfare. They were all on track for 6 figures by the time the kids graduated high school. By 7:42 a.m., every account was empty. By 8:05, I had my first missed call. My brother, then my cousin, then my mother. Madison sent a text that just said, "Wait, what?" followed by 5 question marks. I didn't respond. I blocked her instead. Then I went for a walk, got a latte, and turned off my phone. No one had ever heard silence from me before. They were about to find out just how loud it could get. By Monday, my mother had left 4 voicemails, each one more frantic than the last. I didn't listen to any of them. I watched them transcribe on my screen like a slow-moving car crash. "What happened to this college accounts, Bailey? Call me back. Are you okay? You left Grandma's early, and now the money's gone." This is about Madison's joke, isn't it? Don't be ridiculous. You can't just punish the kids, Bailey. That's low, even for you. Even for me. That one stuck, like I was the one who'd made things personal. I spent that afternoon on my balcony, phone off, glass of wine in hand. San Diego was cool and breezy, and the chaos felt far away. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the family wallet with a pulse. By Tuesday morning, the email started. My cousin emailed first. Subject line, "Just want to talk." He wrote a paragraph about how grateful they were for my help over the years and how his son was counting on that money for college. Said he didn't agree with what Madison said and that kids say dumb things sometimes. Said they were all just joking. Then came my brother's email. Longer. Defensive. He said Madison was a teenager and I'd overreacted. He told me he was struggling financially. That Madison was expecting to go to Oregon State next fall, and now everything was up in the air. He threw in a line about how he always knew I'd pull something like this eventually. I didn't reply. Then something unexpected happened. That evening, my cousin's wife called. Not a text, not a voicemail, a real call. I let it ring out. Then she texted, "Hey, Bailey, I know you're upset. I would be too. I just want you to know that we appreciated everything you did, even if we didn't always say it. You didn't deserve that. I hope you'll come around eventually, but if not, I still wanted to say thank you." It was the first real thing anyone had said since the party. It wasn't groveling. It wasn't guilt-tripping. It sounded like honesty. I didn't respond, but I didn't block her either. By Wednesday, my grandmother called. Her voicemail was short. "Bailey, I love you." That one I saved. Meanwhile, my brother started getting more desperate. He sent screenshots from Madison's college portal. He listed the tuition deadlines. He even asked if we could have a mature conversation. I couldn't help but laugh at that one because here's the thing. Until now, I wasn't angry. I was done. That's different. But suddenly, with the money gone, everyone remembered who I was. Not just the one with the cash, the one they counted on, the one who never asked for thanks, the one who flew in, smiled politely, and never made a scene. That version of me didn't exist anymore. And they were just starting to realize it. By Thursday, I started getting messages that weren't really apologies, just dressed up excuses pretending to be one. That's the family way. Never say sorry without padding it in blame. My mom finally texted, "Your brother's a mess. Madison's crying. You know how teenagers are. This is all just a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. As if her laugh wasn't the loudest one. As if it was just some harmless comment and I'd somehow misinterpreted being mocked in front of 3 generations. Then she added, "Let's not let one comment ruin years of family." I didn't answer. What I wanted to say was, years of what? Years of me showing up, quietly helping, swallowing every backhanded comment like it was part of the family ritual. Instead, I let her sit with the silence. That afternoon, Madison sent me a voice note. She didn't even write it out, just recorded herself crying. I didn't press play. I blocked her on email next. Then came something I wasn't expecting. My Uncle Gary called. We'd never been close. And he's the kind of guy who says grace at dinner with one hand while texting on his phone with the other. He left a voicemail, too. Said he'd heard what happened and that he'd never been comfortable with how the family talked about me behind my back. Said he always told his kids I was the one they should be looking up to, that I'd done things on my own terms, and maybe that's what made them so bitter. Then he said something that stuck. Sometimes people don't appreciate a bridge until they've burned it. He hung up after that, didn't ask me to call back. I played that voicemail 3 times, not because I believed him entirely. Gary isn't exactly known for his moral backbone, but because it confirmed something I hadn't fully admitted to myself. This wasn't just about one comment from Madison. This had been building for years. I started remembering things, like when I paid for my mom's roof repair and she told everyone the bank helped her out. Or when I flew Madison and her sister to Disneyland 2 summers ago and they told their friends their dad surprised them. Or the time my cousin needed a lawyer and I covered the retainer and they said they figured it out somehow. I wasn't just excluded, I was invisible. But now, suddenly stripped of their safety nets, I was the only one they could see. I thought maybe the quiet would be enough. I was wrong. By Friday, the panic turned into strategy, and they started trying a new approach, pretending to care. Friday night, I came home to flowers at my door. No note, no signature, just a slick, overpriced bouquet that screamed guilty money. I didn't even bring it inside. Left it on the floor of the hallway and stepped over it. That night, around 10 p.m., I got a notification from Venmo. My brother sent me $50 with the caption, "For coffee. Sorry about last weekend." I stared at it for a while. It was so weird it made me laugh. $50 from the man whose daughter called me a walking ATM. A man I had personally bailed out of debt when he defaulted on his car loan 3 years ago. I declined it. 2 hours later, I got a DM on LinkedIn from someone named Rachel Haynes. I didn't recognize the name at first, but the message gave it away. "Hi, Bailey. I'm Madison's college counselor. I was hoping we could chat. She's deeply upset about everything that's happened and mentioned that you're a key part of her college plans. Would love a moment of your time." I sat there rereading it, trying to process what I was actually looking at. They gave my name to her school counselor, and not just gave it. Madison told this woman I was responsible for her education, and now they were hoping I'd explain why I'd suddenly dropped off. I didn't respond, but I did click on Rachel's profile. Under education, I saw UC Davis. That made me smile for a second. I donated to their Women in STEM program 2 years ago, quietly, of course. The next morning, it got stranger. I got an email from an old family friend, someone I hadn't talked to in years, asking if everything was okay. She said my mom had told her I was going through a lot emotionally and to keep me in her prayers. So now I was being painted as unstable. And I realized they weren't just panicking. They were trying to spin the narrative before I could. They thought if they looked worried enough, said the right things to the right people, they could frame this as me having some kind of breakdown. That way, if the family support dried up, it wouldn't be about them. It'd be poor Bailey, so sad, so lost, so emotional. They weren't just trying to fix things anymore. They were trying to control the story. That's when I decided to flip the script. I didn't block my brother. I didn't respond either. I let it sit. Then I posted something. Not on Facebook, where they expected me to. On LinkedIn, where I knew they'd never go looking. Just a short update. Excited to be redirecting some of my resources toward new scholarship projects for first-generation college students. Grateful for the opportunity to support those who truly value education, gratitude, and personal growth. 10 minutes later, I got a text from my cousin's wife. Are you starting a scholarship fund? I didn't answer. That afternoon, I donated $20,000 to a local program that helps single mothers go back to school. I sent them a message with the donation. This is in honor of every woman who got told she wasn't enough without a husband or a child. Use it well. Now the silence wasn't mine anymore. It was theirs. The following week was quiet in the most satisfying way. No texts, no calls, just radio silence from a family that had finally run out of angles. Then, out of nowhere, my cousin Michelle showed up in San Diego. She didn't tell me she was coming. Just sent a text that said, "In town. Can we talk?" I ignored it. She texted again an hour later. "I'm downstairs, not here to fight, just want to see you." I looked out my window, and there she was, standing by the coffee shop across the street, holding her phone in both hands like she wasn't sure what to do with them. I almost laughed. Michelle hadn't made time to visit me once in 5 years. I'd flown up to Sacramento at least a dozen times. She was always too busy to come down. I didn't go outside. I let her stand there until she gave up and walked away. That night, she sent one last message. "I get it now. I really do. We've been awful. Not just Madison. All of us. I think we all just got so used to you being the one who gave without asking. We stopped seeing you as a person. I'm sorry." So I didn't reply. And then something happened that made my chest tighten. My grandma sent me a letter. Handwritten. No stamps. Someone had clearly dropped it off. Just one sheet of paper folded in 3. "Bailey, your presence was missed this week. Your absence is louder than your silence. I don't know what they did. I know what they're capable of, and I know what you've given to this family. I also know what it's like to be the strong one who finally says enough. I love you, and I understand. Grandma." I didn't cry. I didn't even feel sad. I just folded it back up and placed it in the drawer with the other things I've saved over the years that no one knows I've kept. 3 days later, I got an email from the local women's college I donated to. They invited me to speak at a spring panel. They said they loved what I'd written about education, growth, and gratitude. They wanted me to tell my story. I agreed. The same day, I got another Venmo from my brother. This one was for $1. Caption: "Please don't shut me out forever. I was wrong." I didn't decline it this time. I let it sit there. A digital reminder of what it took to get them to see me at all. It had only been a week since that backyard comment, but everything had shifted. They used to treat me like a bonus feature. Now they looked at me like I was the foundation, and they finally noticed what it felt like when it cracked. I hadn't cut them off because I hated them. I cut them off because I was done feeding people who bit the hand and then laughed about it in front of the table. And they knew now I wasn't coming back the same way. It happened a week after Michelle stood on my street and left with nothing. I got an invitation in the mail. Not a text, not an email. A real envelope. Thick paper. My name written in careful script. Inside was a card. "We're having a dinner. Just us. No kids, no noise. Just family. We'd like to talk. Sunday, 6 p.m. Grandma's." No signatures, no guilt tripping, just the ask. I set it on my counter and left it there for 3 days. Didn't say yes. Didn't say no. I wanted to see if they'd follow up. They didn't. Sunday came. I put on a plain black dress. Nothing flashy. Drove up, parked 2 blocks away, took my time walking. The second I stepped into Grandma's house, I knew something was different. The usual chaos was gone. No casserole pans, no screaming kids, no blaring music. Just my mother, my brother, Michelle, and Grandma at the table. Plates were set, water, not wine. No one was smiling. I didn't sit right away, just stood there waiting. My brother was the first to speak. He said he was sorry, that he should have said something at the party, that he laughed because he thought it would blow over like everything else, that he was used to me being the one who swallowed things. My mother went next. She admitted she'd laughed because it was easier than confronting what Madison said. Said she thought I'd always forgive her no matter what, that she never realized I might not. Michelle said she realized too late that the money wasn't the gift. I was. And then she said it. "You were never trying to be special. You were just trying to be seen. I finally sat down. We talked for 2 hours. No drama, no tears, just raw honesty that had been missing for decades. Grandma didn't say much, but when everyone else was quiet, she looked at me and said, "They've changed, but so have you." And she was right. They didn't ask me to turn the accounts back on. No one begged for a second chance financially. They knew better. What they wanted wasn't money. It was me. But they didn't get the old version, the quiet giver, the background checkbook. That Bailey was gone. They'd spent years thinking I had everything because I had money and freedom. But all I ever wanted was to be treated like more than a resource. That night, I left with nothing in my hands. No leftovers, no guilt, no secret pressure to fix anything. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel used, hurt. And they finally understood what it cost to lose someone who never asked for much except respect. The update. I didn't forgive them that night. I let them speak. I listened and I left. No dramatic hugs, no declarations of a fresh start. Just a calm, clean exit. That was new for all of us. By Monday, the group texts lit up again. Not the usual noise, no memes, no birthday reminders, just messages like, "Thanks for coming, Bailey. Dinner meant a lot. We're trying to do better." I didn't reply. The thing they still didn't quite understand was this. Apologizing didn't reset the balance. This wasn't a board game they could restart. Some damage doesn't reverse. It just becomes part of the structure. By Friday, my mother called, left a voicemail that surprised me. I talked to Madison. She's embarrassed. Says she doesn't even know why she said what she said. I told her she needs to write you a letter. Not to fix anything, just because it's what decent people do. She paused. I know I didn't raise her to be cruel, but I also know I didn't raise her to understand what generosity looks like. That's on me. I saved that one too. A few days later, I got an email from Madison. It was short, not dramatic, not performative. I said something awful. I can't take it back. You were always there for us, and I never once said thank you. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to say that. You deserve better. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Things didn't go back to how they were. They shifted quietly. Michelle started checking in once a week just to say hi. My brother stopped asking for anything. My mom mentioned she'd started volunteering at a women's shelter, said she realized she needed to spend more time giving to people who didn't expect it. I kept my distance. I'd grown colder, not cruel, just clear. I didn't fund the accounts again. I didn't start visiting more often. I didn't offer money. What I did offer was presence when I chose to. And slowly they began treating it like something valuable, not assumed, not owed, earned. They'd learned that I didn't shut them out because I was angry. I shut them out because I finally realized that the only way they'd ever value me was if they had to live without me first. And now they knew what it cost.